Hi, Alpha Love, beautiful people, and today I'm going to be sharing some things I learned from living in a tent. Backstory: my family and I have been living in a tent for a very little over a year now, and it has been an upful and beautiful experiences. It's not perfect, it comes with its challenges, but I'm just honestly trying to full joy this experience and shift my perspective and overstanding of the word home and house. Because we have been programmed to believe that a home and a house has to be a concrete structure or a wooden structure. But I feel like once it's a safe and secure structure, once it's a safe and secure situation and it's keeping you safe and warm, it's a home. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into, I have my phone because I typed them out on here, and let's get into it. So, number one, Um, as I mentioned, my family and I have been living in a tent for a little over a year, very little over a year now. And the number one thing that I've learned is humans love things. We think we need a lot of things to survive. Consumerism is at an all-time high. Amazon is booming, Shein is booming, Timo is booming. But in truth and in fact and in reality, we don't need as much things as we think we do to survive at all. Since we've been living in a tent, I have had to put a lot of my stuff in storage and at families' homes and those kind of stuff. And as I said, we've been here for a little over a year, and it's very few things I've actually had to go back for, which is crazy because I'm now thinking in my head, what am I going to do with all of these things? When we build our tiny home, which we're going to do, am I going to go back for all these things? Am I going to have to give them away? Am I going to throw them away? Because obviously I don't need them. I honestly feel like if you can survive without something for a year, that is not like a special or seasonal thing. Like if it's not a special or seasonal thing and you can survive without it for a year, I don't think you need it. And I honestly feel like a lot of those things that I have in storage, I don't need. And honestly, I have a very minimalist mentality. I'm very quick to get rid of stuff and throw away stuff. So it's just being honestly solidified in my mind that a lot of things that we think we need to survive, we really don't need. Number two, it's kind of similar but not simplicity. Um, since living in a tent, I've come to realize like how simple life really is. A lot of things are made complicated to add anxiety, stress, and frustration to humanity, put in place by the system, obviously, for them to thrive. So, like for example, food. People would think that, okay, well, I guess it depends on your lifestyle, honestly. But for me, life has been very simple. There's never a day where I've gone hungry. There's never a day where I've gone without something that people think you need to do all of these grand things to do or to get to receive. Like, like things like food, water. Okay, water is a good example. So a lot of us feel like if you don't buy water, if you don't have a tank and all these things, you can't catch rainwater. But honey, simply put, if you have a tarpaulin and you have a drum, you have a bat, you have a bucket, you have anything, you can use a tarpaulin to catch the water. You don't need a big grand tank, you don't need a big grand spouting. Like there's many things you can use to get what you want until you get what you want. So it's just finding simple solutions to these problems that were made to seem grand. I guess that is my number two. Number three, this kind of goes, I feel like all these are kind of intertwined, but resourcefulness. As I said, just it's very easy to find simple solutions to things or problems that seem grand. I remember when we were living out in our very first tent, the tent was getting very deteriorated from the sun and just the elements, rain, sun, wind, everything. And it was getting very deteriorated to the point where if you just touch the tent too hard, or if something throw and hit it too hard, it will tear. I know many people will lose their mind over a situation like that, but I was just like, at first I was like, wow. But then when I really sit down on my I'm just like, bro, duct tape exists, fabric exists. I have a glue gun, I have glue sticks, I have fabric, and the tent is already fabric. So why can't I just hot glue a piece of fabric? Why can't I just put some duct tape? And that is exactly what I did. And we continued to survive in that tent for months with no issues, no rain, no nothing getting inside. Or even some people would even throw away the tent. Throw away the tent and feel like, yo, we need a new one right now. But no, resourcefulness, okay? Be resourceful. Always and in always. So number 4, how to conserve energy. I guess how to save energy. That's another thing too. When it comes to people think that we're just living in a tent and it's just the worst thing ever. I feel like living in a tent is nothing different from living in a 1-bedroom house. Yeah, it's not a hard structure, it's not wall, it's not wood, it's not concrete, it's not none of those stuff. But it's simply just like living in a studio apartment where you look around and everything is right there. And that's why it's also important to keep your things low. But no, we have a source of power. Portable power stations exist, and I feel like not a lot of people are looking into these things or even investing into these things. But it's very important to, I think, to have a portable power station or some kind of solar setup. Because even many times you would be here and the power would be off in the village, and the only light you're seeing around is ours, which is crazy because we have solar lights outside. We have a portable power station that was charged by the sun inside. Like, we're good. Utilizing the sources of energy that you have around rather than just depending on the grid or depending on the system, honestly. That's something I can say I learned from moving into a tent, because before I moved into a tent, I was not so into solar power and those kind of stuff. It's only when we got here, you know? So give thanks. The connection to nature. That is a huge thing I learned or gained from living in a tent. I can honestly say, since I have been living in a tent here, I can't count how many times I've been living in a tent. I'm gonna stop right now, I promise. But from since you have been living here, I never had to set an alarm. I never had to put myself to bed. No, nothing. Like, once the sun is up, we wake up. Once the sun goes down, it's time to go down. Like, we just get into the natural rhythm of nature without even trying. And it surprised me even because I was a person who always had to set alarms whenever I had to go anywhere. Like, I was dependent on an alarm, but now I don't. So yeah, that's what I have you start noticing the stars, the moon cycles, the birds, and get into the natural rhythms of nature. Patience. I feel like patience is another huge thing I've learned. Okay, like for example, if it's raining and you have something to do, you're gonna have to wait it out. When you have to set up a tent, work towards something, you're gonna have to wait it out. Like right now, I'm waiting for us to build our tiny home, saving our funds towards the tiny home. And I've been very patient, a year's worth of patience. And I will continue to be patient and also not be patient and being a sourpuss the whole time, like being patient but being filled with love and gratitude the entire time. It's not waiting but have an attitude about it the entire time, but being patient but being grateful as well. That's something I've learned and I've been trying to practice, because initially when I first came here, I wanted to be out of the tent like the very next month. Like, I was working, but just showed me that's not how things go, and also it's not in our time, and it's his timing. We're here for a season and for a lesson, and until the Most High sees it fit for us to move out or see that we have learned the lesson he's trying to teach us, we'll be here. Adaptability kind of intertwined with what I was saying about the weather, and also just the elements, if rain is coming, you want to do the laundry, you want to do something outside, you're gonna have to just adapt and reroute your plannings and all those things. When the tent tour, you just have to adapt, find a solution and keep moving forward, you know. Just be flexible, just be, what's the word, adaptable. You just have to be firm and ready for a lot of things, and keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and also keep your emotions balanced. That's very important when living off grid. I think I said this already, but number 9, I have gratitude for all things, especially the little things. So since we're living here, like, I feel like I've just been saying the word gratitude or being grateful over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I honestly feel like maybe that is the lesson that we're being taught, like, to be grateful for all things always, you know. Seriously though, because I could easily feel like, well, there were moments where I felt like my world was flipped upside down. I know you all heard me say that already. And there are moments where I could feel like this is the worst period of my life. But also in those moments, there have been an abundance of small little moments that have made me really sit back and be like, wow, life is not so bad after all. And this is not the worst after all. If you really sit back and think about it, like, I'm sure as you can hear right now, there's birds literally sitting around me right now and giving their input on what they have to say in the video. And there are moments where we've gotten blessed by people. We've, you know, been granted so many blessings, so many gifts, so many opportunities. Like, even a hot meal, like, we're able to cook. We have power. We've been catching rainwater consistently. I think it has been 4 or 5 months now that we haven't been using the pipe water at all. Like, in the beginning, we had to be constantly going to the pipe, getting a ride to go to the pipe, because our vehicle is also broken down. But I think it has been 4 months since it has been raining to the point where we don't need to go to the pipe. We don't need to get a ride to go anywhere. We have a drum, we have bottles, we have all those things, and we've been catching rainwater through jar water. So yeah, those are just things to be grateful for. Like, we have rainwater. We don't have to ask for a ride to go for water from the pipe anymore, which the pipe water is awful. Like, when I was washing even clothes with the pipe water, my clothes would lose their color so fast. I've lost a lot of clothes just because of the pipe water. So we don't have to do that anymore. And in the beginning, when we came here, I had to travel every single day, long distance, to my mother's house in order to charge up our devices, charge up our laptop, use the blender, keep things cold. I'd have to catch the bus to my mother's house and to get power, and now I don't have to do that anymore. So, you know, those are a lot of things to be grateful for, the little progress and move that we have made, even though we feel like, okay, we don't have a house yet, but we were once in a place where we didn't have power and we had to travel distances to get electricity. We were once in a position where we had to beg ride to go and get water. We don't have to do that anymore. So give thanks. The next thing I have is how to live with bugs and pests. Honey, I was a girl who was afraid of bugs, spider, roach, all of them things there. And since living in a tent, they find their way around. If it's not inside, it's in your shoe that you have outside, it's in a bat that you have outside, it's in a bucket that you have outside. They just make themselves be known, like, reminding us that we're truly one and we're all connected. And in the beginning, I would always smush them, but I feel like being so close to nature and also getting accustomed to them, they're not so scary anymore, and I just leave them to live their life and know that it's okay if they're right there. You don't have to just, you know, take them out. They're not really doing nothing. And I'm coming to understand as well, many times when they attack is because they first felt attacked. Like, there's not an animal or insect that would attack you just for fun. They would have had to felt attacked first by you. I'm learning, y'all, better budgeting, because again, when you begin to live simply and living off grid, you realize that you don't need to spend as much money as you're accustomed to. For example, right now we don't really buy things that have to stay cold. We don't have no fridge. We have a cooler. but we don't buy nothing that have to stay in the fridge. We always buy our stuff fresh and then use them up as quick as we can, because sometimes when you have fridge, you just things end up on staying there for weeks and months and those kind of stuff. We don't have that issue anymore. So yeah, we don't spend so much money on foods that have to be put up. We don't have to spend any money on electricity, on power, or anything like that. A lot of stuff that we use, we make on our own. We make our own toothpaste, we make our own oils for our skin and our hair. I've started sewing my own clothes. Yeah, we started sewing our own clothes. So just trying to be resourceful, try to make things for yourself. Yeah, just budgeting and saving your money and not spending your money when you don't really have to. That's something I've been learning. The strength and resilience of your body. In terms of, we don't have a vehicle currently anymore, so I've been walking a lot of long distance, a lot more. That's not something I'm accustomed to, because as a child my father had a vehicle, and when I first met my kingman, we had a vehicle up until now. This is the only period where I ever had to walk as much in my entire life, So I'm truly learning my strength when it comes to that. At first I was so afraid to catch the bus, because you hear all kind of stories about the bus man and them, the bus system, and I'm just honestly afraid to get in an accident at the hands of someone that I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where their heart is at, where their mind is at. Like, that's one of my fears, is getting in an accident at the hands of someone who I don't know where their head is at, where their mind is at, what they're into, what they dabble in. I don't know. I overthink a lot, but that I've been walking a lot, catching bus a lot, strengthening myself, and also it was scary at first, but I pushed through and now, like, I have it unlocked. Another thing is, where we live, it's very far from the main, so anything we have to bring in, we're lifting it. Okay, we're lifting it, and that has been strengthening me. But also mentally and emotionally, this entire experience have been strengthening me, showing me my strength, showing me my resilience, and also how much I can adapt. Because as I said already in the beginning, I was not taking this experience well at all. I was crying every single day. I was depressed. I was stuck. I was depressed. But now I can honestly see the good and the light in the situation. I can also see many reasons around to be grateful for. I'm grateful for our progress and just how far we come. And I just know that the blessings will continue to flow as we keep our head, our space, and our mind and our heart in the right places and spaces. I said this already, problem solving under pressure. I didn't even notice that so much of these intertwine are basically the same thing. But yeah, I have, like, when the tent had tear, duct tape it, and hot glue, piece of fabric over it, and also, the tent have zipper door. If the zipper run off, fix it. Many times people go on like if they don't know how to fix things. Like, the minute something break, you throw it away and go and buy a new one. A lot of these things are fixable because they were made in the first place. Unless it literally break. If a zip run off, put it back on, honey. If something bend, if a fabric tear, sew it, If your clothes rip, sew it. If you get bleach out, dye it. I have how to make peace with discomfort. Like, I don't appreciate love moments where outside is mucky and wet, and I don't like that. I don't like my foot getting wet. I don't like my foot getting muddy. But I have again sought to see the beauty in these moments. I appreciate love that the rain is essential for the plants to grow and bloom and thrive and to give us food and fruits. So, just shift your perspective a little bit, and something that you find discomfort in, you're going to find that it's a blessing in disguise. And also, many of us, when it comes to comfort and convenience, we have become slave to those things. Like, in any moment where you feel uncomfortable, you feel like you have to run or you have to get away from it. No. In some moments, we are meant to feel discomfort to overstand and learn a lesson. And also, convenience. Convenience when it comes to consumerism A lot of people just buy something that solves a problem that was not even a problem in the beginning. I'm trying to find an example. A piece of plastic that help you hold your grocery bags plenty at a time. When honey, it's okay to make the 2 trips or the 3 trips inside and outside because you're getting your steps in. You understand? So little things like that. Why are you mass producing something made out of plastic just to help you carry more grocery bags when it's just okay to go inside and come back for the other stuff? Or ask someone else to come and help you. Like those kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. Like the lengths we go for convenience right now, the lengths that we are going for convenience is honestly scary to me. Anyway, maybe I'll make a whole other video on that. But just not being a slave to comfort and convenience. It's okay to be uncomfortable sometimes. Sometimes we are meant to feel the discomfort because it's going to teach us a lesson in return. And also, everything is a balance, a slower pace of life. So, again, since living here, my daily routine, my everyday life have drastically slowed down, which I'm absolutely grateful for because I always wanted a slow life. Before, it was a point where when our vehicle was up and running, we had our natural health juices in stores. And it would be a case where we were always, always, always on a hustle. Like if it's not days where we're delivering juices, it's days where we're trying to sell juice on the road. And if it's not days we're trying to sell juice on the road, it's days where we have to seek ingredients to make the juice. And if it's not days where we're seeking ingredients, it's days we have to put aside to make the juice. So like life was just constantly a hustle, and it was draining. And the next thing I learned is also the importance of routine. Keep on top of your chores, keep on top of sweeping out the tent. A tent gets so dusty every single day. Every single day. You're gonna have to sweep out the tent every single day, and that's just not a part of the routine. It's also important to keep your things in a place where you can always find them, especially things like your flashlight, your lighter, the important things that you're gonna always have to reach for. Make sure you keep them organized and to hand where you can always reach them. Overall, just having a routine and a cycle and a rhythm at which you work by when living off grid, it does help things to flow much more smoothly and peacefully, and you keep things at a balance. So like when things happen, like if your tent tear, you don't have to panic and wonder what you're gonna do because the duct tape is right there and you can see it and you can say, let me duct tape it up. Just keep things organized, keep things flowing in a routine, and you'll never go wrong. Gratitude for community is the next one. As I have started opening up and sharing my journey, sharing my story, we have gained a lot of community, a lot of friends, a lot of family who have tried to help us in any way that they can, whether big or small. They've just wanted to pour out a blessing upon us, and it has really showed me that when you get in bad situations like this and you think about asking for help, the first set of people that come to you to ask for help would be your family. Share your story and allow your community to come to you. It's always important to share your story, share your testimony. Be honest about what you're going through and where you're at. Because without sharing your story, your journey, and sharing where you're at, nobody would ever know that they can help you. Nobody would ever know that you're in need of help. And there's this quote that has been popping up all over. I guess it's a lesson I do have to learn, which is closed mouths don't get fed. So if you don't open your mouth and speak on your story, speak on your journey, speak on your testimony, even speak and ask for help and assistance, nobody would ever know, or nobody would ever help you, because you have to open your mouth. And that is something I struggled with in the very beginning. I was very ashamed of sharing my story. I was very ashamed of documenting my journey. I was very ashamed of anyone even finding out that I was living in a tent. And I guess the shame for that has passed. There's some times where I do feel like a bit uncomfortable about certain ones knowing and finding out, because I know it's very easy for people to look down on people who are in situations like me. So I've been very still selective with what I share and who I share it with. I am grateful for every single person who have helped us along this journey. Sammy D, Tassie, my mother, my stepmother, my brother, my sister's mother, everyone who has reached out and helped us in this situation. Any will, big, little, small, just even pouring out a wise and upward message upon us. We are so grateful. And I just truly learned that I do have a community. I have people checking for me, even though they're not blood. That don't make the love that they have for me any weaker. The love for me is still real. Like, you don't have to be blood. That's all I'm saying. And the last but not least on my list, this has been a very long list, is I've gained a deeper sense and understanding for freedom. So I have living off grid and finding alternative to things that the grid and system had to offer, like a portable power station. I've been completely living off of power with no need for much more. For example, my portable power station, I've made a point that I have been living off of my portable power station now for a few months. I said in this for over a year, but it's not over a year because I've been living here for a little over a year and we didn't have the power station right away. So I've been living off of the power station for a few months now without the need for anything else, without the need to travel on a bus far distance to my mother for anything. And that has truly opened my eyes to a piece of freedom that I've been missing out on, being focused on things that the system had to offer. For example, like, yeah, we were paying for power from the system, not really tuning into the fact that we could have gotten a portable power station all this time and didn't have to pay the bill that came along with it from the grid or the system. You know, so things like that, like water. We have now been catching our own water, which have opened my eyes to the freedom of a rain catchment system and not paying for water from the system. I've now been sewing my own clothes. I literally have on a skirt that I made, and this is a shirt that I'm not gonna say made, but this is not what it looked like before. I completely altered it, and that is a skill in and of itself, so I'm grateful for that. But you know, this has opened or shown me this freedom where I was once, I don't want to say slave, but I was once someone who thought that the only way to get clothes is from going to the store and buying clothes. Those are the things, I feel like that's what I mean when I say I've gained a deeper sense and understanding to freedom and certain freedoms that are easily available if you only tune into them, you know. But when you're in the system and you're on the grid, like you feel like that is all there is. You're not studying to catch your own water when you're paying for water from the government. You're not studying to get a portable power station or a solar panel when you're getting power from the government. So, you know, this is what truly opened my eyes to these freedoms. And again, I am grateful. Always and in always. And again, maybe these are the lessons that the most I was trying to open my eyes to as a Rastafari Empress and a family who seeks to live sustainably and off grid. The most I just showing us the things that are available for us and the different routes and paths that we can take to get to where we're going. So yes, this is everything on my list. I truly hope that it has opened your eyes to something, opened your eyes to some freedom, and you know, gave you some tips or enlightenment towards living off grid or sustainably. If you feel led to support us on our journey from tent to tiny home, I will leave the links below, and we're truly grateful in advance for anyone who supports us in any way. We'll also leave our tent to tiny home wish list below that you can easily send us a gift that is actually something that we're in need of. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.